Hi, OK viewers, it's Rita here, and this is my life on screen. I went to a local stage school with the plans of going on to a bigger stage school, which I got into on a 3-year unconditional basis, which meant I didn't have to audition. However, I kept joining pop bands, and I met a lovely young boy called Duncan James, and we joined a band together, and drama school kept getting put on the back burner, but I did eventually get back there, not until I was pregnant with my twins, who are now 17 nearly. My first acting job was on a programme on Sky One called Dream Team that some people out there will remember. It was about a football club, and it was a little bit footballers' wivesy. And I played a girl in a pop band, which at the time I actually was, who accidentally killed someone. My audition for EastEnders actually gives me anxiety just talking about it. It was hell. Over the course of 4 weeks, Sam Womack, who is still my best friend to this day, but I didn't know her then, were called in to a room of, the first time we came in, there was about 30 girls, all looking a bit like Ronnie and Roxy, to read. And then we'd get taken out of the room and brought back in and asked to read with someone else and taken out. And that would go on all day. And then nothing for like 4 days. And that went on for 4 weeks to the point where I was like, have I got the job or not? And eventually I kept ending up back with Sam. We got on really well from the minute we met. And we kind of thought this, if we don't get this, something's wrong, because we felt this connection, and they did keep putting us back together. And long story short, we obviously both got the job, and that was about 16 years ago. When I found out I had the role of EastEnders, I was actually at home with my very young twins, who were just 15 months old, mashing vegetables, thinking, oh, this life is not for me. This life, am I just going to be mashing vegetables forever? And my phone rang, and it was my agent, and he said, are you sitting down? And I was like, oh, I didn't get it. And he said, just sit down. And I thought he meant sit down for the bad news. And I sat down, and he said, you've got it. And I don't really know what on earth I did next. It was like a massive blur. Whether my kids got their mashed vegetables, who knows? When Sam and I found out we had the job, we weren't allowed to tell people. They didn't want the press finding out before they'd sent out a press release. So I think I only told a very few people, who were all just like, because I'd always said, I want to play a Mitchell on EastEnders. Out of all the jobs, why on earth did I end up with that one? But I did. So nobody could believe it. But then, yeah, I had to wait for the press release to come out for everybody to know, and then my phone just blew up. One of my favourite scenes to film, because there was many, many favourites, I couldn't possibly pick a favourite, but one that I loved was when we had some like hooligans come into the Vic, and I was working behind the bar, and I got to smash up the entire back bar area, all the glass, all the bottles with a baseball bat. And I got to do that about 6 times until the scene was perfect. And I'd say it was one of my most satisfying moments. So Sam and I used to have a lot of fights on set, Ronnie and Roxy. And occasionally it would accidentally happen that one of us really hit each other. But we actually quite liked it because it made it more real. And we'd always have a stunt coordinator who absolutely would forbid it. But as soon as they'd turn their back, we'd do it again and give each other a proper psh. The other one is, Sam and I filmed a Christmassy, I think it was Christmas episode, where we were trapped under an icy lake and Sean had stolen my baby, or our baby. Turned out not to be his anyway, but anyway. We ended up having to dive into the outdoor tank at Pinewood Studios, which is not heated, and it was November when we filmed this. And it was so cold that Sam was crying and I was drunk because I was drinking brandy just to get into the water. The things the viewers don't know. Playing the character of Roxy for 10 years was a really bizarre experience where you feel like you know this person inside out, and you do. And you feel their emotions and you feel their pain, and then you clock off work and you're you again. I don't think unless you do a long-term role like that for so long, it's ever something you can explain fully. But you step into work, you step into their clothes and you feel as vulnerable as that person or as however that person is feeling that day. You take the clothes off, you go home, you become me again, you become Rita again. Sam Womack, aka Ronnie, and I are still best friends to this day. When we were at work, it was a case of I would get into work and she was sat on my bed in my dressing room waiting for me, or vice versa. And when we stopped playing the Mitchell sisters together, we were like, we're going to stay friends forever. But often that doesn't happen. We really have. We speak often 2, 3, 4 times a day. And I love her to death still. I have so many memorable scenes with Barbara, really. And I could pick you a million right now. But the favourite, not even the favourite, the most iconic one I can think of is the day I had to tell Barbara or Peggy to get out of my pub because the pub had been left to me by my dad, Larry Lamb, aka Archie. So it was now my pub, and I threw out Peggy and I told her to get out my pub. And I felt terrible. Barbara Windsor was... I find it amazing that she's not even here anymore because she was to me like another auntie. She really was. She was amazing to work with. She taught me so much of what I know because I learned all my TV craft with Barbara. She took me under her wing, and Sam, from day one. She was warm, she was caring, she was generous. She said hello to everybody that ever passed her. She just wasn't... she was just something else, really. I can't even put it into words. She was wonderful, and every scene with her is pretty memorable. I have so many paper articles saying, Roxy's gutted, she's not back, Roxy's gutted, she's dead. Because, so let me put it to you clearly. I am gutted that we're dead. But I read a lot of articles saying, I want to come back, I want to come back. That's not necessarily the case. I just think it's such a shame that we're dead, because if we were able to come back, like for instance, apparently my daughter Amy Mitchell is having problems. I'm hearing a lot of people say to me, she needs her mum. I think in instances like that, it's a real shame. So yes, I'm gutted we're dead, but I'm not here saying I want to come back. I'm having a really nice time out here, thanks. It was very weird going from playing Roxy for all those years to being myself on camera in the jungle. I don't even know how to explain that one. That was just completely weird because you don't see the cameras, but you know they're there. And I'm definitely the sort of person who's more comfortable hiding behind a character than... I don't mind being myself, but continuously all day is really hard work. It was really weird, and I can say it was exhausting. So when I left EastEnders, I first of all went and did a year playing Paulette Bonifante in Legally Blonde. So I did that for a year. I then did a play called House on Cold Hill, written by Peter James, well, a book adapted from Peter James. Did that for 6 months. I then went into Everybody's Talking About Jamie in the West End, playing Miss Hedge at the Apollo. And then I did Hairspray at the Coliseum with Michael Ball and Les Dennis, and I was playing Velma Von Tussle. Funnily enough, my dream role, considering I do so much theatre, people are always like, do you want to be Elphaba? Do you want to be... No, my dream role is nowhere near a theatre. My dream role is a really good UK comedy. I think that we're majorly lacking in comedy lately, and I love doing comedy. I love comedy. So weirdly, yes, my dream role is like a regular comedy job on TV, not Elphaba. When I was at EastEnders, I lived just round the corner from the set, and I didn't realise how lucky I was until I started my first theatre job. Even if you're in the West End, it's a graft, but the first theatre job I did was a touring show. So it was the biggest shock to the system after living round the corner from EastEnders to being on the road. And not only that, you're on stage late at night, you finish late at night, your whole sleep cycle, your diet, everything changes. And I have to tell you, from doing 10 years on a soap and about 5 years now in theatre, theatre wins in terms of hard work and graft. It's a real slog. And I don't think people realise how difficult it is, but man, it's hard work.